good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified all the latest content as and when it drops. So let's get into this one. We had over the weekend, just 2 days ago now, Saul Canelo Alvarez, undisputed 168-pound super middleweight champion versus the junior middleweight undisputed champion Jermell Charlo, and this was a undisputed versus undisputed. The smaller man in Charlo moving up to 168 pounds, daring to be great, as we like to say in this day and age, and it turned out to be pretty much the result that I expected. I thought Canelo would win this on points, and that is exactly what he did. However, I did expect a little bit more in terms of ambition from Charlo as his fight started. First round, very cagey. Both men just had a look at each other. Charlo was mainly on the back foot, moving around, using all of the ring, but there was hardly a punch thrown really in that first one. Very much a feeling out round, and some of the crowd was sort of booing, weren't too happy with it because there wasn't really much action. As the fight moved on, Canelo began to get into his pattern, which is walking his man down, making you work while he just sort of stalks and does things at his own pace. And that's pretty much the pattern of this fight in terms of how it went from second round onwards. It pretty much went in his pattern whereby Canelo following Charlo around, cutting the ring off, looking to hurt him with body shots. And even as Charlo, the few times when he did throw, Canelo was sort of always ready, moving his head back out of the way of Charlo's shots, Charlo's attempts of countering. And Canelo just essentially cut Charlo down to size. He just kind of, as much as he didn't get the stoppage, I want to say that he pretty much chopped Charlo down and pretty much just nullified Charlo, because Charlo was either that maybe he was afraid of the counters, he felt the power, because obviously you had the knockdown, I believe it was in the third round, where third or fourth, I think it was, where Charlo sort of finally let his hands go. He finally tried to throw some combinations, had a bit of success, but then as he had his success, Canelo was able to take him down with a hook and cause him to be discombobulated, have to take a knee and get knocked down. And then he went back in his box, he went back on his bike for the rest of the round. And the fight pretty much took that pattern, with Charlo sort of not having much ambition to sort of get on the attack and win the fight, because against a guy like Canelo, because he is a guy that sort of comes forward, he's a guy that he has his comfort zone, he has a certain rhythm to how he fights, he likes to dictate things on the front foot, he likes to make you work and make you move, make you sort of dance to his tune, and you've got to sort of find a way of getting him out of that rhythm, and you've got to sort of upset his rhythm like what Dimitri Bivol did. You've got to find a way sort of to get him out of his comfort zone, and Charlo seemed to not be, either he's unable or he was unwilling to, for fear of reprisal, fear of what was going to come back at him, because he was just pretty much for the whole of the 12 rounds just moving on the back foot, not really throwing much. Canelo was pretty much doing all the punching. He was good, I suppose, defensively, was Charlo, because he was only allowed, Canelo might land a right hook to the body there and again, and invested very heavily in the body and got through with a few shots. But Charlo was able to sort of flitter away, move his feet away. But the problem was he was boxing on the back foot, but he just wasn't landing anything. He was landing hardly any shots on Canelo. So it's one of those fights where, although he didn't get what he wanted in terms of a stoppage, I suppose, Canelo, he had pretty much everything his own way. The fight was fought at his pace. He had nothing to fear in terms of offense, in terms of what's coming back at him, because there was hardly anything coming back at him. Everything was pretty much in Canelo's way. It was his show, and it kind of showed one thing positive for Canelo, Another positive thing is his stamina really held up well in this fight, because he was punching from the first to the 12th round, and yeah, hardly any resistance from Charlo. So overall, impressive performance by Saul Canelo Alvarez, the kind of expected result, and perhaps a bit of disappointment from, in terms of Charlo, in the sense that he didn't really go for it in this fight. I don't know what he was thinking, what was on his mind, but in my view, he kind of left a lot to be desired. He didn't really go out on his shield. I mean, whenever you fight Canelo, there's this notion, and obviously everyone says, "Oh, you're not going to get a points victory off of Canelo." So, in a way, when you fight him, you've got to go for it. You've got to, unless you're a Floyd Mayweather who can make him miss, all his shots, and then you just sort of make him pay and, do something of that nature, where you just stay out of his way, but he's not hitting you, then perhaps you'd have some success. But a guy like Charlo, you can't do it. There's only one Mayweather. So yeah, impressive by Canelo. Very, very dominant, and we'll have to see what's next for him. I know a lot of people talk about Crawford, and I think Crawford, one of my favorite fighters, but the one I'd like to see, because of the weight divisions, because he's in the same weight division, is David Benavidez. If David Benavidez, gets through his next fight, I'd like to see him, if he can get through Andrade, however we pronounce it, if he can get through him, I'd like to see Benavidez. Or if, let's say, Andrade beats Benavidez, then I'd like to see him versus Canelo. But for a spectacle, I'd rather see Benavidez, because Benavidez is a come-forward fighter, big guy, lets his hands go, and I see it being a firefight, and I see him as someone who could give Canelo a bit of trouble. I'd favour Canelo to beat him, but I think that would be the most sort of entertaining fight that could be next for Canelo. So that's what I'd like to see next. As for Charlo, maybe he can go down to, I don't know, to 160, or maybe down to 154, give Crawford a go or something like that. I see Crawford probably winning that at 154, but yeah, that's for him. I think he just needs to drop back down in weight, and fight someone down there, whoever he can get. But anyway, that's my thoughts on this. Brilliant performance by Canelo, very dominant, and very one-sided. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until next time, MKO Pugilism, over and out.